Today we are doing Salisbury steak. This is one of my husband's favorites. He has a lot of favorites, but this is one of them. And we like to do ours in an onion gravy. You could of course add mushrooms to this, and by all means add some mushrooms to it. However, whenever I'm making this for someone other than me, I do not add mushrooms because my husband doesn't like them. But that doesn't stop me from adding mushroom powder to the gravy. So I still get the flavor, just not the texture. So in my bowl I have 2 pounds of my organic grass-fed whatnot hamburger. We're going to add some onion powder. And this is all to taste. You can omit whatever you don't like. Garlic powder. A little more garlic powder than onion powder. I'm going to add some parsley. Now, I do have fresh parsley and oregano, but I am not using fresh in the Salisbury steaks. I'm going to use my dried for them. Now, you can use thyme. Thyme is really good in this, and if I had thyme, I would probably be using it instead of the oregano. However, a good substitute, if something calls for thyme and you do not have thyme, you can use oregano. They are in the same family, and I actually did it just the other day in a stroganoff. It called for thyme, and I used some fresh oregano, and oh my gosh, so good. So good. So don't think you can't make this recipe if you don't have all the ingredients, because there are always substitutes. Now that was just a little black pepper. And now we're going to add some salt. And then 1 egg. Well, actually, I take that back. I need 2 eggs. Yes. I have, how many eggs do I have? 5 eggs sitting on my counter that I need to wash and put in my fridge. But I have my cast iron heating up with a little bit of oil in it. Because the way I like to do them is I'm going to cook them and get a nice, you don't have to cook them all the way through, but I want to get a nice crust on them. So that's what we're doing first. And then maybe for 2 pounds, half a cup of breadcrumbs. And then just get in there and stir it all up. Piping hot. The trick to good Salisbury steak or meatloaf or meatballs is not to overwork your meat. Whenever you're mixing it, mix it just until it's mixed. Don't really get in there and knead it like you're kneading some dough. You don't want to do that. It'll come out tough, and it won't be appetizing. So just work it as little as possible. So this is the size that I am doing my Salisbury steaks. They're maybe a 1/2 inch thick. I'm not doing them too awful big, but we're going to get a few out of here. Probably have to do 2 batches. And then I'll show you once these are done. And I have it on a medium-high heat because, like I said, I want them to have a nice char on them, and the inside does not have to be done when you're doing this step. I mean, you can go ahead and cook them through if you want, but they're going to cook more once we make the gravy. We just want to do this step first. And while your meat is cooking, you want to go ahead and chop up 1 to 2 onions. And I like to do mine not sliced, but not chopped, if that makes sense. I will cut my, well, I'll pretty much quarter my onion and then make the slices from the quarters, if that makes sense. So that they're kind of strips and slices, but they're not big, and they're definitely not going to be like, bam, in your face, here's a bunch of onion, because then my son won't eat it if he thinks there's anything in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. But here's my first batch. I probably will get another 2 to 3 out of what's left in my bowl, and I will bring you back when we are making that gravy. Now, without doing anything to the pan, don't scrape it. Here are my Salisbury steaks, and you can see they have a nice dark color to them. You want to add a couple tablespoons of butter. I also turned my heat down. It is on just medium heat. Actually, I'll turn it down a little more because cast iron will retain a lot of heat. Woo! A lot of heat. But put your butter down, or you can use more oil, and then put your onion. And now we're gonna let this go. I have it on medium-low now. You can use, of course, if you want to use mushrooms, add your mushrooms in now too. But I'm just doing this as, oh, sorry, I keep getting the smoke up my nose. I'm going to use mushroom powder in my gravy. But anyway, you want to get a nice caramelization on your onions. The more caramelized, the deeper the flavor is going to be. So I'm going to let these go. I'm going to stir them every now and then just to make sure nothing sticks or burns, and let them go for about 20 minutes. That should be a good time. I'm not going to salt them because I'm going to be using Better Than Bouillon beef base because I don't have any beef broth canned. And it's salty. So I'm not going to add any salt, but I will add pepper later. We're going to add some Worcestershire, however you say that. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, but can't ever pronounce it. Add some of that. Okay, so once you have gotten your onions as caramelized as you would like them, you want to take a thickener. I'm just going to use some flour and just sprinkle all over your onions, and that is how we are going to do our gravy. So, all that mixed in, and that's just going to get all of the excess oil, which we don't have that much. It's going to pick all that up. This is going to be so good. So good. Okay, let me get you in a little closer. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Now, to this, we're going to add 2 cups of water. That's because I want 2 cups of broth. If you have broth, just use broth. I have to use this. Put a glob of that in. Maybe 2 globs. Now, I did not add any salt because this usually will give any recipe I use it in enough salt as it is. We are going to pepper though, just black pepper, and then some Worcestershire. Maybe 2 tablespoons worth. And turn our heat up back to medium high. Stir everything. And this is going to make a delicious gravy. I mean, divine. Oh, okay. So, get all this. Now, if you wanted to add mushroom powder, you would want to do it right now. I am still searching for my mushroom powder. I said I was going to put it in, but my cabinet and pantry is in such disarray, I can't find it. So while this is finishing up, I'm going to search for my mushroom powder. I know it's in there somewhere, but if I don't have it, I don't have it. Okay, so everything's mixed in. What you want to do is take your, I see, baby. You want to take your Salisbury steaks and nestle them into your to-be gravy because it has not thickened up yet, but that is okay because it will thicken up. And that will keep, or that'll make sure that your Salisbury steaks cook all the way through. And it'll give them such an amazing flavor. So, these are all nestled in. This one is staying out. It is for my son, because he won't like the onions that are in this. This is gonna bubble on medium. It's gonna thicken. It's gonna cook the rest of our stuff. And I am making mashed sweet potatoes and some corn to go along beside this. Okay, so I've just turned off the heat, and I'm gonna plate this up and show you just how awesome this turns out. So, grab yourself one of your Salisbury steaks that is perfectly done, and it's definitely not dry. And oh, but still had a water in it. And then you get your onion gravy, which is thickened up so nicely. Pour it right on top. Yum, 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 yum. Does that not look delicious? So good. So this is going to be my plate. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you try it for yourself. Remember, you can always make a delicious meal. You do not have to have a bunch of special ingredients. I like extra gravy. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.